Dear friends, I am honored to accept Noah's request to present to you a brief introduction to the Holocaust Remembrance Day in Israel. I am pleased to demonstrate my perspective, opinion, and feelings as a disabled IDF veteran, son to two survivors of the Holocaust. It is of instrumental importance to mention and remember Steven Spielberg's declaration from Schindler's List. It is impossible to tell about the Holocaust, but it is a sin not to try. So in the following moments, I shall try my best to hint my perspective. You see in front of you a picture of a young couple on their marriage day, December 11th, 1949. My father very serious, my mother smiling, excited, both very attentive, as any couple on their marriage ceremony. Yet you cannot see that my father just recovered from serious injury in the Israeli Independence War after 8 months in hospital, and you cannot see that my mother has only a little more than one operating lung after an operation following a serious illness of tuberculosis, which she gathered at a concentration camp. You cannot see that the closest real family relatives in the ceremony were only 3 uncles of my father, 2 cousins, and 1 aunt from my mother's side. What about 2 pairs of parents, 3 brothers, 10 uncles and their families? All of them demolished in the Holocaust. But they had with them much family, though not blood relations, mostly their friends acquired in those dark years of the Holocaust, escaping, surviving, and succeeding together to stay alive. In the next picture, you see a happy family. My parents, my brother, and me, 1958. You cannot imagine that the children were not supposed to be born. Surprising. My mother was one of the human guinea pigs in Block 10 in Auschwitz. She was lucky to be operated by Dr. Maximilian Samuel, a Jewish doctor directed by Dr. Mengele, and the Jewish doctor was brave enough to try to be human and had mercy on his poor, humiliated, and damaged patients. Executed devastated experiments only on one of their ovaries, disobeying direct orders, and once it was known to Mengele, he was executed. I was born on March 12, yet my mother insisted that my formal birth date should be March 13, which is the demolition date of Krakow Ghetto. My mother had importance in taking the same date of destruction of families and killing of Jews, including her brother and mother, as a symbol for the rebirth of a family. Each of us, my brother and me, has 3 children. When my younger son was a small child, he asked my mother, his grandmother, "Tell me, Grandma, are you rich?" The answer was, "Very rich." So he insisted, "How much?" And she answered, "I have 6 grandchildren, each of them worth $1 million. So I have 6 million. Another way to prove, here I am, despite all attempts to eliminate me, my family, and my nation. My mother's journey from being a scholar in Krakow September 1st, 1939, till May 3rd, 1945, included Krakow Ghetto, Plaszow Camp, Auschwitz, Birkenau Death Camp, the Death March, Bergen-Belsen, Zwickau Camp, and ended in the release of the remaining Jewish prisoners in Mauthausen camp by the US Army. In this unique voyage, she met and bonded to her 2 partners, and the 3 women were practically sisters in blood, never departed till their death. The children were and still are practically my cousins, as I have no real cousins. My father's journey, from his home in Zlochov, near Lvov, once Poland, now Ukraine, began with the German attack in Operation Barbarossa, breaking the Molotov-Ribbentrop Agreement. His father literally throws him out of the home when he was at the age of 21, ordering him, in what practically was his father's last words and will, "Son, you go fight for your life and save yourself. We, your parents, are too old, and your brother and sister are too young. You go, save your life, finish your studies in chemistry, and when the days comes, take our revenge, fight, and contribute to the existence of the Jewish nation." So with 4 friends, who also turned to be three brothers and a sister for a lifetime. They started the journey on June 1941, in which they forged documents, changed identities, crossed borders illegally. He was, among others, a Romanian industry worker, a German officer, a Hungarian student, a Polish policeman. With his friends, they wandered through Poland, Romania, Germany, Austria, Hungary, crossing by boat the Black Sea to Turkey. One of three boats, the other two were sunk by German submarines, and taking the only train that made the complete voyage from Istanbul in Turkey via Syria and Lebanon to Atlit in Palestine. In my mother's forced welcome to Birkenau, the first act of the Nazi industrial machine was to erase the human identity of the people and from there on refer to them as objects, as serial numbers, and as so they ignored the names and gave each a serial number. And not to lose or forget, it was etched and burned in their flesh. Edith Geithheim was now A26192. Many years later, my mother was the office manager of the Public Relations Department and the Technion, in charge of hosting international guests from out of Israel. Her pleasure in these meetings, especially when the people came from Germany, was to wear short sleeves even in cold winter days, and the number tattooed on her hand would be seen clearly, and if no question was asked, she insisted on explaining. I can continue the description with many unbelievable details, incidents, miracles. Any word is too weak to describe the truth. But I shall end my briefing with the story of the third picture, fighters of the Israeli Air Force over Auschwitz. The tightening relations between Poland and Israel led to invitation to the Israeli Air Force commander from his equivalent and the Polish Air Force to take part in a festive event and air show in Poland, celebrating 85 years to the establishment of the Polish Air Force. This immediately ignited the feelings and emotions of many, among them some of the high-rank officers in the Israeli Air Force, relatives of Holocaust survivors. After difficult debates and stipulations, the Polish gave permission for a memorial declarative flight above Auschwitz-Birkenau extermination camp, under very strict limitations, to be executed on September 4th, 2003. Yet, the objective of the Israeli team was to present a winning photo, in which the Israeli Air Force planes could be filmed going over the spot of cruel history to be delivered to the people of Israel and especially to the survivors from this hill. And this was not approved by the Polish administration. The orders were very clear. So at the event, Eliezer Shkedi, who was the deputy Air Force commander, gave the following instruction to the pilots. Our mission is clear and should be done. 800 years the Polish administration gave orders and instructions to the Jews. The last time we obeyed these orders was 70 years ago. Once and forever we will do what is right and justified to do. The 6 pilots who crewed these flights were all relatives of Holocaust survivors, all excited and thrilled for this mission. Some of them saw this as a lifetime mission. Amir Eshel, who led the flight, has dreamed on this moment for a long time, especially for his mother, as all her family perished in Auschwitz, and he cited later, "From the cockpit, the image of hell loomed over me." After many hours of planning, rehearsing, and considering the exact words to be said in this historical flight, this was the phrase decided and said. We, Israeli Air Force pilots, rose from the ashes of millions of victims, promising to be the protector of the Jewish people and his land, Israel. The historical photo was presented in person to all survivors of Auschwitz, creating a huge impact and pride. My mother hanged it over her bed, and it was for her the most precious picture in her home. As she aged and became sick, hit by dementia, she turned to be incapable of functioning in control. But even so, in her unconsciousness, she objected my efforts to remove this framed picture from above her bed, as I wanted to remove all objects around her that may harm her. But from his unconsciousness, she understood and told me, "This is me." And I'll end my story with my personal moving experience. Being an officer in the IDF, I was invited to take part in the ceremony and parade of the Israeli 30th Independence Day celebrations. As the Independence Day followed the Holocaust Memorial Day by 1 week, I was standing in uniform and armed near a tank at the rehearsal that took place in the morning of the Holocaust Memorial Day in Jerusalem. And in my head, the words from the anthem of the Jewish partisans echoed. Do not say this is my last way, even if the light of day is shaded. The day we yearn for will come, and our march will claim we are still here. And this is what I felt. Thank you.